Hi friends, welcome to our Wilderness Basics series.
We want to create a fun place for you to learn super basic nature, bushcraft, and wilderness skills.
It's autumn, which means fun and laughter as leaves blanket the ground, and the perfect time to practice the ninja leaf catching game. It's also time to harvest an incredible plant. There are many plants that have multiple uses, but milkweed ranks among the most versatile. Throughout the summer, it gives us multiple vegetables, from its shoots to its flower buds to its pods, and even a food unlike any other on earth, the sweet and juicy milkweed white that eventually forms into silk to carry the seeds away on the wind. The white sap from which the plant gets its name is sticky and can be used as a means to increase friction. It has many uses, which we won't cover today, but one example would be to help your hands grasp a tool handle more firmly. By the way, when you're gathering autumn milkweed, feel free to spread those seeds. Foragers, bushcrafters, a host of pollinators, and monarchs will all be very happy that you did. Here's what we're looking for in the autumn: pods and stalks. The pods are useful on many levels. Each pod provides hundreds of wind indicators, a no processing needed char cloth, a coal extender, and a tinder material. Mirabelle is gathering ones that aren't shedding a lot of silk yet, so they can be well contained in her pouch without making too much of a mess. Part of what we want to show you today is this inner fin that is hidden beneath the silk. Each pod holds one, and it's a substitute for char cloth, as we'll display shortly. And the final part you can harvest is the stalk. Here's one that still has some green. Leave that one to ripen more. We want stalks that are brown all the way along their length. Here you can see how easily it yields up a strong, raw cordage material. Rolling cordage is its own video, and I'll provide a link in the description of this video for a tutorial that I made many years ago. Let's see how it works as a wind indicator. Mirabelle takes a single fluff, holds it above her head, releases it, and gently steps back. She watches it drift, and a local wind movement is suddenly visible. How about that use as char cloth? The sparks from a flint and steel are relatively weak. Few natural materials are able to catch, sustain, and grow one of the sparks. These milkweed fins require no processing at all. But you must be determined, especially when you first get to know the material. I've gained more skill with it, but here you'll see my initial attempts to use it. I put a fin on the top and the bottom of my flint to maximize the chances of a spark taking. Later, you'll see me place more pieces on the ground in the chance that they might catch a stray spark as well. My first spark that took was a surprise. One of the fins on the ground was burning. But as you can see, it didn't capture the heat well enough and it went out. I experimented with using only the milkweed fluff, but didn't get it to take. Although it works as a char cloth, its heat is low, and you have to be diligent about capturing as much as you can. A quick note before we try a second time. One can find very creamy looking fins, as well as fins that have been exposed and have a drier look, almost as if they are slightly charred already. These darker ones tend to take much more easily for me. After a few minutes, the second spark takes. This time I add more fins, but repeat the experiment of using the pod with the silk in it. My hope was that the silk would expand the heat that the fin in the pod would take, and that the pod itself would take, since the pods can be used, as we'll soon see, as coal extenders. But both the fins and the milkweed fluff are only powerful enough to softly grow an ember. It never grew strong enough to ignite the pod. Again, it failed. Essentially, the pod acted as a barrier to spreading the ember. In my third attempt, I made a more traditional tinder bundle. Crushed leaves, a dried goldenrod flower head, which can usually be found right alongside the milkweed, and milkweed silk. After a few more minutes, I got a spark to take, but this time I didn't even get the ember large enough to bring to the tinder bundle. Note, however, that we now have a great advantage. We've charred the fin, which means that we can probably get it to take much easier. As you'll see, it even takes with downward falling sparks. After an initial failure, I spark for a few more minutes and finally get it to take. The final amazing use we'll share with you today is the pod as a coal extender. Like the other parts of the milkweed, when used for fire, it's not overly powerful, but it's still quite functional and will definitely sharpen your skills. I left this for a few minutes as I messed around with the fire and tried transferring the ember to other pods. Then I tried to use the pod to start a leaf tinder bundle on fire. My friends, this is an amazing plant. Food, fire starter, cordage maker, a sap that is essentially a weak glue, as well as a skill builder and a food for monarchs. Definitely a plant to know. Share what plants you gather in the autumn for their usefulness, and what is the plant in your environment that has the most number of uses. Love to you all. Can't wait to see what you have to say in the comments.